Hey friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, back for another video, and this is episode number, are we going to talk numbers?
Okay, this one's going to take a lot of thinking.
Oh my.
I'm not going to say much for the clue.
Okay. You're going to hand me something?
You ready?
What episode is it, dear? Turn it around.
No, you look at it.
Yeah, I know that picture. It's in the hallway. It's dusty. It's in the... Okay, this is our son Joshua when he was 3 years old, and I still had him in smocked clothes.
It's going to fall out.
No, it's good.
Little boy Fauntleroy. That's your clue.
Okay.
The second of two.
Okay, so we must be going for the year he was born. So that was...
The second blessing.
Second blessing, yes. This is Joshua. He was over last night. He's going to be 33. He was born in 1990. So, episode 90. So.
That's why I married you, because you're so quick.
Yeah. I don't think that's why you married me. I think it was because back in the day I was good looking. Okay, enough silliness. So what have I been stitching? Well, I've thrown caution to the wind. That was staged. Something blew away. Okay, that's fine. So yes, I've thrown caution to the wind. I had new starts. I've just been stitching whatever I want to stitch. So my whole theme of getting down my whip count has been like not happening. Why? I don't know. You love stuff when you start it. You love stuff as you're stitching on it. And then for some reason, I don't know. We're going to have a surprise guest a little bit later in the canine family. Okay, first of all, I'm going to talk about this stuff. This is a quilt that I made years ago. It was a kit. It's kind of hard to see. I'll have my husband insert a picture. It was something baskets, and it was by Joined at the Hip, which was Tammy and Avis, and they first started designing they're in Iowa. I don't think they're still designing quilts, but anyway, that was a kit that I made years ago, and I still get it out. Okay, let's see if I can disassemble here. This is a Blackbird piece, and it was a Loose Feathers 13 Spring Fling. Did I tell you this last week? I don't know. Spring Fling by Blackbird. Again, stitched this a long time ago. It's on like 28 or 30 count. Oh wait, 2017. So that's when I stitched that one. Spring Fling by Blackbird. And I didn't get out the pattern. Now everything's falling. I didn't get out the pattern. I've shown you this one before. It's by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. I think I showed that when I showed my crow that I finished. Okay, let me pick something up here. Okay, that was not attractive. My daughter used to say that to me. She'd say, Mom, that's not attractive. This is Peace Rose. This is a Reward of Merit by Blackbird. This is a Scattered Seed, Little Wren. This was part of, I think, was it last year or the year before's club? I used to get all of her club pieces, and then I got so many that I hadn't stitched that I didn't sign up for her club this year, but I love all of her things. They come beautifully kitted, and you get everything you need. This is Little Wren. This is the March Wordplay by With Thy Needle and Thread. I have March and April finished, and I'm working on getting a few more of those done. And this is Hello Spring. I've showed you this one before. This is by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. Okay, so got that out of the way. So what have I been stitching? Let's just see. Oh, and I picked someone who's going to be the proud recipient of the waxer. So sometime in the video, I will show that. So let's talk about smalls first, since those were all smalls. What is a small? To me, they're smalls, mediums, larges. She's kind of noisy. Now she's crying. I feel like Rachel from Needle and Flax. She always has a dog prancing around. Okay. What have I started and what have I been working on in the area of smalls? Well, first of all, I told you last time I wanted to start the spring salt boxes by Plum Street. Spring salt boxes by Plum Street. And I did. So I like this one better. But if I did this one first, I was afraid I wouldn't go back and do this one. And I like them both, but this one's I like this a little better because of the colors. So I decided I will start this one and then do this one second, because I know if I do this one, I'll also want to do that one. I'm in a bit of a dilemma. The gal that is Paulette's mom, she's on Instagram, and she was the first one I saw that did not put all of the white on the bottom, because it's supposed to kind of look like a Polaroid. So there were two girls at our stitching group, and that's a whole nother thing I did this past week. And at some point, we're going to insert a movie of what I made. Okay, I'm getting off track. Just remind me, okay, to show that. So this is the first of the spring salt boxes. And what I started to say is there's 14 rows of white stitching. And there's some people that have just done 3 rows all the way around. This is on Oaken, or is it Wren? Pause here, so I'm not sure what it calls for. It's Oaken by Picture This Plus, 36 count. So in our stitching group, we met last Saturday. We had a party. 2 people have done, one person I think had done a winter one. It wasn't the spring, I don't think. Another person had done the spring. So the one person had the spring done with just 3. The other person that had a winter one had all of the white on the bottom. I think I'm going to do all of the white on the bottom. And the girl that did only 3, she's like, I really like it all the white on the bottom too. Because it really does make it look more like a Polaroid. And if you do a flat finish, like put fabric on the back and just do a flat finish, then you can put it in, it's not like a pillow, like all of the pillows in the dough bowl. Which, by the way, some of these came out of my dough bowl. And so these are the threads for both of them. So it's all the called for, which is mostly, there's some classic colorworks and some weeks. Okay, I'm going too slow. This is another small. I did not work on this one, but I'm planning on keeping it. I'm not doing a rotation. Okay. I feel like I'm being disorganized. What to do? Okay, so on the days that I long arm quilt, I only do it for like 6 hours at a time with, a couple breaks, but 10 to 4, 9 to 3, whatever, 5 or 6 hours. So then sometimes I go take a nap, but I'm deciding if I don't take a nap, I could use that time between then and when I fix supper to stitch on smalls. So my late afternoon stitching, which I haven't done in the past, is, I'm ignoring that. I don't know. What are you fixing, dear? Surprise me. So that late afternoon stitching is when I'm going to be working on smalls. And even though this is not really a small, it's 266 by 114, 9 by 4 if you use, that it's supposed to be done on over 1 on mushroom Lugana. So I'm doing it on 40 count. So I'm taking that back. I'm doing it on 46 count. So 46 would be like 23 count, and this is 28 count, so it'll be a little bit smaller than if it was, or bigger. Either. It's not huge. And I have a start on it. I've showed you this before. And this is one of the things I'm going to be working on my late afternoon stitching. And I'm not doing a rotation. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just going to randomly decide, oh, what do I feel like today? And then I'll get that one out. And these are the threads for that one. Again, they are, and that's by With Thy Needle and Thread. And they're just overdyed cottons. And this is another one of my choices for smalls. I showed you this a couple weeks ago. This is a blackbird. It's called Berry Time. It's Loose Feathers number 37. This is one you'd have to get off of the secondary market, I think. And so this is another one that I might be picking up when I'm working on smalls. And again, this I'm doing on 40 count. It actually calls for like 28 or something. It's only one color, which is Wild Berries by Classic Colorworks. So that's another one that's a choice. And I have all of these in just, this really nice project bag. Oh. So that is another small. And I call it a small. Okay, I know it's kind of medium. And then the last, the other choice. Where's that other one? Oh, here it is. The other one that I'm going to be working on is, oh my goodness, Carol. Here it is. There's actually two more. This one is the May wordplay. I have, like I said, I have March and April finished. So I want to get this done and fully finished before the beginning of May. Do I have that right side up? Yes. The only thing I might change on this is that bluish color for the girl and the word May and the sprinkler can. I think those are all the same color. So this is where I am on this one. It's kind of weird to do your letters sideways. Working on the B skep, so I'm working over. And the color of that girl is this peacock. It's called Peacock. It's by Gentle Art. I don't think I want it that turquoisey. I think I want it more blue, especially since May, there's Memorial Day. So it does have a flag. It does have a flag down here. But I think I want it more of just like old blue paint or one of those kind of colors. The funny story is, I thought I had this fully kitted. Oh, and I'm using Abecedarian that it calls for, 35 count by R&R. I thought I had it fully kitted, so I'm going around and I'm getting out all the colors from my stash. And then I went into my With Thy Needle Thread box where I have all the other patterns for the other word plays. And sure enough, I find a ring with all of them for May. At that point in time, I had already pulled, so I have 2 of every color. But I'm going to leave them on here and look at June because some of them may repeat. And then I'll just take off the ones I don't need. I was like, I just got those out. I don't feel like alphabetizing them and putting them back. I should, but the scary thing is that I had 2 of everything. And then the last of the smalls, and this is on a piece of color and cotton boardwalk. I like this. I love the color of this linen. And you're like, well, what design is it, Carol? But it's kind of tight. It's 40 count, but it feels a little bit like 40 count. Picture this plus. I think it's that each of the linen threads are just a little more swollen or thicker. So it feels like it's tighter weave. But this is the Rabbit in the Rose. It calls for a color by Fiber on a Whim. I think it's called Thyme, Thyme. I didn't have that, so I decided to use this Boardwalk by Color and Cotton. And this is where I am on that. So I have part of the basket finished, but not all of the basket. And I really like this color. It's kind of a gray-green. That's pretty close. Kind of a gray-green. And these are all DMC. And this is by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I had all of those colors too. So that was required no thread purchasing. So that was nice. So that is my group of smalls. I may start one and get close enough to I may work on one and get close enough to a finish that I say, oh, tomorrow and the next day I'm going to work on this. But that is my late afternoon stitching. This is my plan, at least. You know what happens to plans. Sometimes they go by the wayside. Oh, sorry, that was kind of a loud slurp. The next thing I want to talk about is my evening stitching. So, my evenings sometimes are cut short because my husband works at the woodworking store, and sometimes he doesn't get home till almost, 7:45, and so then we eat and we watch a little TV together, and then I go stitch. So sometimes I'm only stitching like 9 to 1. And other days, if he's off, like today, then we'll eat earlier, and then I'll get a little bit longer time stitching. But I have decided my evening stitching, regardless how many hours I get, is going to be on samplers. And I've been very influenced by 2 specific Floss-tubers. And if you don't watch these 2 gals, you should. The first one is Nerissa. I've mentioned her before. It's Nerissa's Stitching Lifestyle. I'll look it up, but I think it's Nerissa's Stitching Lifestyle, and we'll put it in the description box. She's in New Zealand. I think she's done maybe 4 videos, and she does a lot of Prairie Schooler Santas. I think she's done every one of the Santas. She does some Mirabilia, but she also does a lot of samplers, and her wall of samplers is just like crazy cool. So there's a couple that I've been influenced to start. Of course, they're not on top of the pile here. By her, Nerissa. And that is not start. Some of these are new starts, and some of them are, because I threw caution to the wind. And some of these are whips. So the first one is Anne Ufendel by Hands Across the Sea. I started this a while ago. I haven't picked it up in a while, and I really decided it's time. So here's my progress. The other person that I wanted to mention has been an influence is Eleanor from The Love of Stitching. She's in Yorkshire. And she also does a video, The Dolly Mixtures, with her friend Allie. So it's Ellie and Allie. And I love when their videos come up. I watch them right away. So they're very funny, too. They're very cute. And no, you don't look like her mother, Allie. Anyway, this is where I am on Anne Uffendell. So Nerissa showed hers framed, and Ellie or Eleanor is working on hers, and it really inspired me to get mine out. Both seeing Nerissa's framed finished piece and Ellie's progress. So this is where I am. I have the border bones in, and I'm working on the flowers. And I would love to think that I could get the flowers all done before I start the inside. But there is over one motifs, and there's over one in the verse, and there's freehand embroidery. And, you know, it's not like, okay, I'm going to finish this in a month at all. So I'm hoping to finish this year, though. So that's Antique Uffendell. So I'm using the Aversois. Oh, first of all, I'm using 40 count pecan butter by Lakeside. And I'm using the Aversois silks, the Soie d'Alger, which are the skeins. And I have them in this little booklet. Beautiful colors. And not too bright. I don't like a lot of the ones that get really bright with the purples and the yellows and the... I've purchased some, but I don't have them kitted yet, so... But we all, you know, have different tastes and different styles, and, you know, we all do different things. The next whip that I was motivated to work on is my Anne Rayner, which is an out-of-print chart. I'm sorry. Anne Rayner, and mine is already promised for somebody that's really patiently waiting. This is another one I really want to finish this year. And I did work on this one. Anne Uffendell I got out, but I haven't actually worked on. But Anne Rayner, I did some work on it. I've gone back and forth on conversions on this. And so when I finally finish it, I will probably be able to share that. But basically, I'm using NPIs, which is needlepoint silk. And I'm stitching this on a piece of 46 count Lakeside buttercream. Here's the colors. Okay. When I decided to change to the NPI, I had already done a lot of the border. And I didn't want to take it out. So the green that's on the border and the red on the border are not NPIs, but I'm not taking them out. And if there's green in the body of the sampler, it'll be changed. Because I was using Belsois. Oops. Yeah, that's right side up. So here's where I am on Anne Rayner. So I did part of a band. I did this four-sided stitch here, right there. And I did the start and the bottom of the grass, and I started on the house. Can you see that? Well, the house I was doing in Sister Scarlet by Belsois. I know this is a lot of detail, but I just have to tell you. So just be patient with me. So Sister Scarlet has some variegation. NPI does not have variegation. I don't like the variegation in the house. I like this color, but I don't want to have variegation in the house. So then I have an NPI, but for some reason it wasn't quite as good a coverage with the red NPI, because I want the house to look like it does in this picture, which is very solid. So I picked an Aversois, which is very, very close. Where is it? It's very, very close to the red Sister Scarlet. So I'm going to take out those few. I'm not going to take out the steps, but I'm going to, because that has another color next to it. And I'm going to do this 2925 of Eriswa for the house. This is my life. So I decided I'm going to do 2925. I have something that has 2920. I think it was Ann Ufendel has 2925. I'm not sure, but there was a chart that I had kitted somewhere that had this. So then I have to go searching. So then I pull it out of that chart, and then I put a note in there that the 2925 is in with Ann Rayner. And then I went to one of my red samplers and realized I had a hank of 2925. So then I got to go put this back. I was like, this is, I'm up doing this at like 1 o'clock in the morning. That is what you call a crazy person. I fit the bill. So anyway, Ann Rayner, another whip I pulled out that I want to work on. And then I had a Father Kind and True. I wanted to work on this. This is also Alice Clark, 1844. It's by Kathleen Littleton, who is Cross Stitch Antiques. She does have a website, and you can buy directly from her, kitted. And I love this. This chart is $491 by $486. I mean, this piece. So, folks, the biggest sampler I've done so far is Mary Barr's. This one is bigger than Mary Barr's. So, I said to my husband, well, this will take the national debt to frame this, because I worked on getting it all the way over to this side. So this is $491 divided by 20 would be 20, almost 25. Okay. So my husband, in the meantime, is reframing a mirror out of my daughter's extra bathroom. And so our son came over last night, and somehow we got on the subject of him reframing this mirror. So he brings the old mirror frame out, and I was like, oh my gosh. So he's going to show us. He's giving me sign language directions. This will fit perfectly in this frame. Perfectly. Except for it's too long. So he's going to cut it down once I finish this. So he's got plenty of time to do that. And he said, well, providing Lindsay doesn't want to keep this frame. I said, Lindsay's not going to want to keep that frame. So, I mean, it is perfect. It's only like 3/4 of an inch on each side. I am so excited. Now, getting it laced and all of that, I might have to have a professional help. No, it's okay. You can move it now. Thank you, dear. So, this one probably won't get finished this year. I'd love to think it would, but it's about 25 by 25 or 25 by 24. That's huge. And yes, I still stitch in hand. So, I worked on that one. And then I had two new starts. I threw caution to the wind. I had new starts on the... No, don't turn the fan on again.
What'd you say? You did what?
I threw caution to the wind. Okay. I'm already at 25 minutes. Stop. He's just being silly. So, I have been wanting to start this for a while. This is Elizabeth Cheatham by the Scarlet Letter. Love this. Now, there is satin stitch, but there's no over one. I love this. Now, if you have satin stitch, I guess you could do X's, but you couldn't use Ada or Aida, however people say it, because sometimes your satin stitch, well, it does. It goes over one thread in some places. So if you've ever been to Country Sampler, not too far from Country Sampler is Lynn's of Madison. Lynn's of Madison it's like kind of an art store, but they also carry a lot of scarlet letter, they carry charts, they carry threads, and they carry linen. So this was on display. Elizabeth Cheatham, or Cheatham, I don't know how you would say that. Cheatham, maybe? Was on display at Lynn's of Madison. Little did I know, I was talking to Pam, who works at Country Sampler. Her name is Pam Klipsick. And she said, oh, I stitched that model that's at Lynn's. Not only did she stitch the model, she stitched the model for scarlet letter. Oh my gosh. I thought Marcia did all of hers, and I've never met Marcia from Scarlet Letter, but to think I actually have talked to somebody that stitched a model for Scarlet Letter, I'm just like blown away. So I'm going to Country Sampler in June, and she said she would go over to Lynn's of Madison and pick it up and bring it, because we're staying upstairs at Country Sampler, and bring it so that I can see her finished model. I'm so excited. Okay, so show us what you've done on it. Okay, so I picked, well, I'm using, again, a Versoix. Soie d'Alger. This really is my favorite floss. It has good coverage. Now, I have used it on 46, and it's kind of thick on 46, but it's perfect on 40 and 36. It's just perfect. I used it on, I think, 7 Sheep sampler by Scarlet House. So anyway, and it was a little thick, especially on the over one. I mean, like, whoa. But so I had a couple different pieces kitted with this, and I wasn't sure what I was going to use. But I decided to use this piece of Prairie Grass by Seraphim, 40 count. Now, I have more than one piece of Prairie Grass, and some of them are not this color. So I think Seraphim and some of the other dyers are the same. And I'm not criticizing, because heaven knows, I couldn't even get it as close as they do get it. But some of my other pieces are different. But this piece, and it has a little tiny bit of a pinkish hue. It kind of reminds me of Vintage Light Exemplar. So here is where I am on Sarah Cheatham. So I've gone all the way down. So this is another one that's going to be a big girl. All the way down the one side of the border. And I added, it's a strawberry border. It's just stitching up like butter. I mean, it is so fun. So this one will really be fun to get back to. Look at those red strawberries. Are those not gorgeous? And look at what great coverage that is. That is great coverage. Did I say it's great coverage? It's great coverage. It is great coverage. Okay, Carol, don't yell at us. That's what my husband does. He'll say, what'd you say? And then I say it louder, and he's like, well, don't yell at me. Wait a minute. Help me out here. Elizabeth Cheatham, Scarlet Letter. Love it. Love it. I'm so glad I decided to start that. So glad. The next one I decided to start, again, influenced by various Floss-tubers. Lisa Kindred Stitcher is working on this one. We were supposed to start this together last sampler September, and I ended up working on something else, and I abandoned that plan. And then, who else has worked on it? Oh, Nerissa. She's working on it. And it is the GGR Rose Wreath. I love this. Now, this is the antique. GGR shows the antiques. And the other GGRs that I've done are Isabella Fox, which is down here. And the Red Deer Sampler. Those are both GGR. And I originally saw this, Nerissa, I think I've mentioned that a number of times. Nerissa worked on it, or had it finished. So I started it. And this is a piece of parchment, weeks, parchment, 40 count. It's the Zweigart base. Now, this one is also weeks parchment. So unless I got this wrong, which I could have, obviously, this is a lot more tan. See, even comparing next to each other, you can tell. But I still love it. So GGR uses overdyed cottons, and the vine is Grasshopper by Weeks. So it's kind of a lighter green. So this is kind of springy. And then you get two options for the red flowers. So I will show you here the two options. So you can either use claret, and claret is a very almost plummy, or it's definitely a wine color. Obviously claret is red wine. You can use that, or for a toned down version, you can use Rose Garden. They're both by Gentle Art. Can you see the difference? So it says for a more faded look, you could use this Rose Garden. And I didn't know which to do. So I'll let you help me decide. So the top flower is done with the claret, and the side flower is done with the Rose Garden. Now, the part that's around the flower is supposed to be different. This is called Honeydew, and this is Mountain Mist, I think. So in some ways, this shows up better because it's got a lighter around it, and this shows up darker because it's got a darker around it. But I'm thinking I like the claret better than the Rose Garden, which is kind of surprising because I'm usually the one that goes for the more faded look. So that's my story. Help me decide. But all you got to say is the darker red or the lighter red. So I have also want to get back to another sampler that's a whip, and I keep talking about it, and somehow I haven't gotten back to it. Anne Grimshaw, also by the Scarlet Letter. And I have this in a bag by the Wishing Thorn. I like that bag. Using Antique Black Silk by Gloriana. And I've gotten along quite a ways. I might work on this one tonight. I need to work on it. I think one of the reasons it's on 36 count, and so I really like 40, but that's where I am. So I have a good portion of it done, and I need to put it in this nighttime sampler. I'm not going to call it a rotation, because a rotation to me is more stringent. And I just want to be able to work on these things. The problem is, do you work a lot on a few, or do you work a little bit on a lot? That sounded like a trick question. Obviously, I'm planning on working a little on a lot, but I want to get to a place where I get into something. You know, like if I work on it one night and I want to work on it 2 more nights in a row, who cares? There's no cross-stitch police. So they say, but I believe some people think they are the cross-stitch police. And then I have my Jane Atkinson. I've shown you this one multiple times. And it's another one. And I'm at the point where I can fill in the tree. So this one needs some time too. And this is another one by Scarlet Letter. There's so many and this is another one I'm using, Veriswa Silks. And here's the chart. So these are my late afternoon stitching and my nighttime stitching. And yes, I stitch every day. with a few exceptions. You know, if the grandkids spend the night, sometimes I don't. But I try at least in the evening. I mean, it just like calms my soul. Actually, only Jesus calms my soul, but you know what I mean. So the other one too that I want, I can't decide. At one point this was my Sunday stitch. And I've seen so many people working on Consider the Lilies, but I won't let myself start that until I finish His Eyes on the Sparrow. Where's the book? His Eyes on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery. And like I said, at one time this was my Sunday stitch. Here's all the colors. And so I need to get, I'm using 36 count Heartland. And that's where I am on that one. I have a little bit down on the side borders, just a little bit. So I may go back to this being my Sunday stitch. Not sure. Oh, my stomach's growling. I don't usually eat breakfast. I know I should. Everybody says, oh, you need to eat breakfast. I forgot to show you on the Father Kind and True, I'm using the 103 silks. And I like them. I've gotten to where I can thread the cut end and it doesn't knot as much. I think the twist is opposite. I had a discussion with Susan Aki, Yard Girl, on Saturday. And we talked about, there's some 103s that come from France, and she knew about them. And she was talking about how those are twisted the same as other spools. I don't know. She's an authority on them, I'm not. But, which, by the way, she has a new book coming out, Summer Memories, that has quilts and cross stitch, and you can get it right now. It's only available, I think, at Fat Quarter Shop, but it will be going to the distributors. Okay, I'm going to take a short break. I need to get a little bit more coffee. And when I come back, I might show you the companion who is sound asleep now. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, now you... I think it's going. Yeah, it's going. Here, you take it so she looks at the camera. Over here. You're like, you guys are teasing me. Come here, Bailey. This is Bailey. She's a golden. She's my son's golden. She's 5 years old. Do you love me? Oh. Okay. She's calmed down. Okay, so that's Bailey. So, there you go. Now I'm covered in dog hair. Okay. Bye, Bailey. Sorry, that was a little chaotic. She's a good dog, and occasionally when my son and my daughter-in-law go out of town, we get to watch her. So, it's a production. They bring over her bed. They don't have kids yet. And they bring over her bed. They bring over all of her toys. They bring her treats. Yeah, so anyway. That's Bailey. And then at the beginning of the week, we got to watch my daughter's dog. Not here, though. We had to go because they went out of town. So, yeah, we're grandparents, two grandchildren and two grand dogs. So, anyway, it's fun. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit about some things that I'd kind of like to add to this, not rotation. The first one is this a new Hampshire Stitcher. I enjoy watching her. She has finished one or two of these, and I think she's working on spring. Or maybe she's finished spring. I don't know. They all run together. So this is Seasons of the Heart with Thy Needle and Thread. And this one is summer, and this is spring. I won't do the tags. Instead, I'll just continue the border. But I want to start with spring. I have the Vintage Country Mocha, 40 count. And I went to kit it up and I was missing a couple threads. I know you find that hard to believe, but actually what I was missing was DMC. So I need to do a run to one of the big box stores and get a couple colors of DMC. And that is one of the ones I'd like to add to my smalls. And then the samplers, I want to work on this one, Elizabeth Hunt. Brenda has finished it. I can't remember if she's framed it yet or not. I love this one. It's gorgeous. And I have it all kitted. This one is kitted with sheep straw by R&R. 40 count sheep straw. And this is the one where you have to coffee and kind of tea dye your some of your DMC threads. And I've already done that. So that's ready for a start. And then there is the Martha Evans by the Scarlet House, which is Brenda's big birthday sal, which I haven't even touched. It's in the beautiful Stitch Folk bag with the Stitch Folk floss drops. And I'm using the NPIs, and I'm using the Hemingway by Needle and Flax. So that needs to get some stitches in it. Another Scarlet House that I want to work on. Now, I have a lot of other samplers that are kitted, but these are ones that I've pulled. This is also on 40 count Prairie Grass by Seraphim. And this one is very close to the same color as the one I'm using for Elizabeth Cheatham. It's a floral motif sampler. And this one is stitched with overdyed cottons. I'd at least like to get a start on this, because I need more whips. The other one, this is another one I was influenced by both the Love of Stitching, which is Eleanor, and Nerissa. Nerissa has it framed, and Eleanor is working on it. And this is Elizabeth Weston by Hands Across the Sea. This one I've kind of gone back and forth on what linen to use. I had a piece of Saltbush by Fox and Rabbit, which is pretty gray. It's a little bit lighter than my shirt, because I thought, oh, the pinks will look so nice on that. But then I decided some of the brighter yellows might not look so great on that. Not that they wouldn't show up, because they would, because there's a couple brighter yellows in there, or golds. But there's some beautiful pinks and greens. I love pink and green. I always have. I'm not sure why, but I always liked pink and green. So I went through my stash and I picked a piece of 40 count navy bean, vintage navy bean by Lakeside. And this is kind of a gray green. And I think it's going to work perfect. So by next time you may see that I've put some stitches into this one. I mean, why not? I'm not getting any younger. Oh, I came across some young pictures of myself. The pictures were developed in December of '83. My dad had a camera store for a while. So, but I had real short hair, and I was like, okay, when did I... Anyway, I'm really off the subject. The other one that is on my radar to start. People say they don't mind if I just show charts, so I've shown you stitching, but now I'm just going to show you some charts. So this is Elizabeth Furness, and there's a group that has a sal going. Livia, Pumpkin Hollow, Yvette, Yvette Gonzalez, Carol Crago, Christy Crosshatch Quilts. I think Becky Socks for Mom might be in on that one too. But anyway, this is Elizabeth Furness by Hands Across the Sea. Another one that I love. Oh, Nicole's actually also working on this. She said she was monogamous. She had a post, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, that she was monogamous on this. So here's the dilemma I faced. I wish I had started when they started, but I didn't. Because their plan is to finish it in a year, and they're doing it page by page, and Yvette kind of has it all set up. So it was originally stitched on sand dune by Lakeside, which is a very gold kind of linen. But Christy from Crosshatch Quilts is stitching it on a lighter fabric. And I really like that lighter fabric. So I pulled a piece of XJU, which I love her linen. Oh my gosh, it's like stitching on butter. And this is a piece that was in, I was in a sampler colors, what am I trying to say? Yearly thing where you got 6 in a year and you got fat halves. So there really isn't any color on this. But this came in April 2021. I think, so if there were 6, I think you got one every 2 months. I mean, 12 divided by 6 is 2, so that would make sense. Anyway, so this is a lighter color. It does have a little bit of modeling, but nothing that's enough to write home about. And I think I'm going to do it on this lighter color. Me, who's dark and dirty, it's going to go to the light. Is there something wrong with me? Here's a little bit. You can see a little bit more of the modeling there. It's very subtle. And again, I have pulled the Vera Soie d'Alger. Oh, I already have the floss away bags. I like to put these in floss away bags. That way, if I have just a strand or two, I don't have to try to put it back on a spool, which I mean on a card, which I tend to do. So there's another one I want to start. What is my deal? Like I said, I'm not getting any younger. So what is that, 10 samplers? And then I pulled some, I thought, well, I'll just show you some of these. How's that for craziness? So this is a bag, and I think I got this from Cross Stitch Nook. I think I forgot her name one time, but I think this is from Cross Stitch Nook. She was the first to do some of these more bigger, a little bit bigger bags. So, you know, you can put 20 things in here. So I'm not going to take the plastic off if I can help it. I'm just going to show you some that I really are on my radar that are kitted. This is Margaret Croft. This is by Needlework Press. I love this. You never know. This one might get started. And it is a very, it almost looks like Lakeside lentil. Oh, this was part of the Schoolgirl Club. Weeks Dye Works Corn Silk. So that's what that one's going to be stitched on. Another Needlework Press. This is Marianne Aldred. This was kitted from someplace. I'm not sure where. And it has Vintage Country Mocha. I love that big swan. Yeah, that's a swan. Kind of an angry looking swan. Love that one. Needlework Press. There's another Needlework Press. Love this one. Anne Gott. 1848. See, I have all these beautiful samplers kitted. And it actually says, a present for you, my dear aunt. I would love to do this for my sister. And she gives you the option. You can do mother, father, brother, sister, friend, cousin, girl, boy, child. She doesn't have granddaughter. But I could put her name. And this one has a piece of something. Straw, weak straw. Now this is Zweigart because it has the red stripe. And it is with the, I think I got this from the attic. Yeah, there's the 103s. What count is that? That's 46 count. So that the 103s will be a nice, they're really nice on, here's another Needlework Press. And this one was also a country sampler piece. This is the Mary Argent sampler. And actually this one I did put a few stitches in a while ago. Just a few. Not a whip, really. But could become one soon. Mary Argent sampler. This is why I'm not buying very much from Market. I know. You got land to sell me, right? This is Mary Carr. Again, by Needlework Press. Obviously, I'm devoid in stitching Needlework Press, and I've got them all in this bag. And this one, I have a couple of different pieces of linen in here, so I'm not sure. But I have the 103s for that. But it's probably going to be Vintage Light Exemplar by Lakeside. So those are some of the ones that I want to do. Those are all Needlework Press. So my husband's going to insert the video of what I made for my friend for our party last Saturday. It was our 10-year anniversary of the stitching group that I'm in. And one gal that used to work at the local needlework shop, which is not really open now. But anyway, she used to work there. And she's taught me a lot about linen and threads and all that kind of thing. And her name is Ruth, and I actually drew her name. We drew names a year ago, and we'll be drawing names again this coming. And it's optional if you don't want to be in it, but most everybody is in it. Especially once you see everybody open their gifts, then you're like, oh yeah, I'm in for next year. A lot of smalls. Some were bigger than others. One of the gal that belongs to our group is in England. So we FaceTimed her. She's never lived here, but she's kind of an honorary member. One lady that was originally in our group died, and I think 3 people have moved. And so we've added some new people, and anyway, we meet once a month on Saturdays. And so this was our 10-year, and we had, food and opening gifts. And I will tell you that it is from the book Sarah's House by Blackbird, because the name I got, Ruth, loves Blackbird designs, which, by the way, I just saw they're coming out with a new book. So go to Alma Blackbird on Instagram, and you can see it's called Crowns and Shields, I think, or Shields and Crowns, something like that. It's coming out very soon. But anyway, I have started, one of my whips is from that book, Sarah's House. I didn't get it out. I should have gotten it out. I think I show it in this little video, but I'm not sure. But one of the pieces is called Flock of Friends. And in fact, I saw, ironically, or coincidentally, that Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts had just finished it too. I added Dear Friend at the bottom, and I put our initials over one. The Dear Friend I got from Reward of Merit. There's one by Blackbird, which is their smaller little patterns, Reward of Merit. I don't even know if they still make those, but they used to. They were just single patterns, and they were in a small little baggie. In fact, I had one out here a minute ago. What did I do with that? Oh, who knows? Anyway, they were small little patterns, and there was one called Dear Friend, and I used those words at the bottom of Flock of Friends. And then I mounted it on a cigar box. Now, people might say, well, where are you going to get a cigar box? Well, a cigar box, a lot of cigar stores or smoke shops, it's okay, Bailey, will give those away for free, or they're very cheap, $1, $2. So if you have a smoke shop in your area where they sell pipe tobacco and cigars and all of that, when they take the cigars out of, because very few people buy, I guess, a whole box. I don't know. I don't smoke cigars. I don't know about cigars. I just know these are cigar boxes, and they're fairly readily available. So there is some logo on them, but not enough to really worry about. And I mounted the piece on the top. I put some batting, mounted the piece on. I actually did some fully finishing. I know that's a shocker. And then when you opened it, I put a piece of fabric with batting and everything that just fit down in there. And I gave her some little trinket stuff to go with it. And I made a little pin cushion that all kind of matched. It was all blackbird fabric. So anyway, I show it in this little video you're going to see. And maybe it'll inspire you a little bit. So anyway. So today is our exchange for the group that I'm in that meets once a month. And we've been together for 10 years. And each year we pick a name and make a gift. And so it's our 10th anniversary. And I wanted to show you the gift that I made so that once I give it, I won't have it anymore. So I wanted to show it to you. So this is just real quick. But this is the book it's from. It's called Sarah's House by Blackbird Design. And I had decided I wanted to do this one for myself, but for my gift, I decided to do this one, which is called Flock of Friends. Oops. And because I have the gal that started the group, I have her name. Her name is Ruth, and she's the one that invited people to her house to start the group. So I thought it was appropriate to do Flock of Friends. And I also added some words at the bottom of my piece. And this is from Blackbird Design's Reward of Merit, called Dear Friend. And I used those words, Dear Friend. So I have it wrapped in a fat quarter, tied with some ribbon. I'm going to have to tie it a little better. I didn't want to use any tape or anything, but here's my piece. It's called Dear Friend, Flock of Friends. This is a cigar box, and you can get cigar boxes in a lot of like smoke shops. A lot of them will give them away for free or charge a minimal amount. And it's all wood. And I did the piece, and then I taped it to, used some double stick tape and taped it to the top of the box. Put my initials and her initials. And this is the piece. Dear Friend. And then when you open it up, you can see the name of the cigar company. And I included some little goodies. I made her a little pin cushion. Put some rickrack on the edge of that. I'm giving her a pair of scissors. I used a piece of blackbird fabric, mounted it on mat board with some batting. And then I included some little antique buttons and some little waxers that are like buttons. And this is a floss holder that my husband made, and some needles, and a little tin for needles. So this is my gift I'm giving. I'm excited to give it. And you get so excited to give something, you kind of forget, oh yeah, I'll probably come home with something too. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that quick video of what I had made for our gift exchange. Thanks. One more thing, two more things, three more things. The only thing I have purchased so far from Market, I have a few things on pre-order, is the cross-stitch antiques, Oh Sweet Humility, Eliza Townsend's work, 1835. I love this. Not going to kit it for a while. It calls for 40 count vintage pecan butter, and I will do it you can do it in DMC 103 or NPIs. I'll probably do it in the NPIs. And I do have some of that vintage pecan butter by Lakeside. So And it can be on a fat quarter. It's about 13 by 13. So if your fat quarter is a full 18, you're going to have 2.5 inches on both sides. So I don't think I'll kit that right away. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I get a lot of questions on, I'd love to start a sampler and what would you recommend? And I always tell people that I would recommend a small red sampler. And so I'm going to just do a little plug for Theresa Venette, Kitten Stitcher. She has a book called Red Letter Day. This is a beautiful book, even if you never stitch anything out of it, but it does have some red samplers. And I would definitely think you should get that. She has another one just came out. I've ordered it. It's called Our Hands or something like the hands we create, hands to create. I don't remember the name, but anyway. And I think you can actually get both books in like a package deal. So that is definitely one to do. And then I want to announce the winner of the waxer. I had to look up my phone. Is Kathy Lloyd. So the keyword was prim, and Kathy Lloyd, you are going to be the proud owner of a little red waxer made by Prims on Greenway, Lisa. So send me your address. I will list my email down below, and I will get that mailed to you. The other thing is, in crazy Carol fashion, I purchased 2 of these, which is called Our Hearts by Brenda Gervais. This would have been a nice one to mention for Valentine's Day, but I didn't think to do that. It's Our Hearts. Your heart and my heart are very old friends. It has a girl and a guy, and it's kind of a band sampler. It's very cute. So somebody's going to be the lucky recipient of this. And the keyword will be Bailey. So, Bailey, you're going to be the keyword. B-A-I-L-E-Y. B-A-I-L-E-Y. Be careful you're typing, because there were some people that I noticed said prime instead of prim. And so when you do that generator thing, if it's not exact, it won't enter you. So, Bailey, B-A-I-L-E-Y. I will see you sometime again later in a couple weeks. Love ya. Bye.